Hi, this is Mary Ellen Popkin, and we're here continuing our series on the magic of a 90-day blitz. I actually ended the last video by saying that we were going into I, which is not the next letter, insights, although this kind of does fit in with that, and we'll get into that later. But we're going to spend this time talking about adjustments. And I believe a lot of people, you know, New Year's, we're now into March, you know, a lot of people make New Year's resolutions and things like that, and, you know, you start out, you're on this, you know, I'm going to do it, this is the year I'm going to do it, and you have all this excitement and enthusiasm, and then somewhere, you know, 30, you know, days, maybe 2 weeks, I don't know, at some point, it fizzles and it wanes. And I believe one of the reasons, and I'm going to go back to my years as a competitive figure skater, is because the adjustments aren't being made along the way. Okay, you've set up this goal, and you definitely can achieve it. And this is why I talk about this 90-day blitz, and we're going to get into the other steps, and the reason why my mind went to I, which is insights, is because that part of it is really going to be important, so you'll want to hear that video too. But anyway, the adjustments, okay. So with skating, for example, there's really like 3 steps. Let's just take learning a new jump, and I can remember those days oh so well. You spend a lot of time on your little tushy falling on the ice, and you know, it's fun and it's not fun, okay. You know, it can hurt sometimes. The jump breaks down into 3 parts. You have your takeoff, you know, and I kind of relate to that as, you know, right now you're sitting here and you're watching this video and you say, I'm going to do a 90-day blitz, you know, to change, and you fill in the blank, you know, my financial situation or my weight or to grow my home-based business or whatever. And there's all this enthusiasm. So the initial part of the jump is the takeoff, and usually there's not a lot of adjustments that need to be made there. The major adjustment really is getting over the fear, the step of fear, because once you've taken off and gotten into the air on that jump, then you know the falls can happen. You know, as long as you're not jumping, as long as you've stayed on the ground and haven't actually done the takeoff part, you know, most likely not going to fall. So, you know, the initial step usually is just getting over the fear and just making the decision, okay? Now, I can remember as a coach, and I remember so well, you know, more so probably the adjustments, because I had to make them personally, that when my coach was coaching me and teaching me a new jump. And this is something, and this is one of the reasons why I think a lot of people will not carry through on a goal and not finish it and set it. For example, you know, you go and you take off and you're in the air, in the air position, there's like all these different things. Your arms have to be just right, your hips, you know, your shoulders, you know, all these things have to be correct. And so, you know, you're doing your jump and you're falling, and your coach says to you, you know, you're dropping your right shoulder. That's why you're falling. You're dropping your right shoulder. So now you're real focused on making that adjustment. And you go and you start to take off again, and you get up in the air, and you've got that right shoulder up now, because, you know, that coach told you, you know, get your right shoulder up, and I've done it to my students. And you still end up down there on the ice, you know, falling down, and it's like, ouch, okay, what next? And they say, great, the right shoulder was up, but now you just dropped your left hip. You get the picture here, and depending, you know, it can go on, you know, and you know, the process is an ongoing process, and even with the landing, I mean, but that's when you're really in that home final stretch, because then you can feel it, because now you've got the takeoff right, you got your air position, but you're doing something, you're swinging your leg too wide when you land, you're leaning forward when you land, because you're actually now anticipating the fall, because you've been through the falls. And that's why the I part is going to be important, the insight. But, you know, as you're making your little adjustments, there's going to be some things that you're discovering things that you need to adjust and change. Do you see the positive? So you can look at it one way of, you know, and as I said, you know, when I take my picture of skating, you know, where you're landing and on your butt instead of on one foot like you want to, because the takeoff is a takeoff off of one foot, air position, landing on one foot, okay? Just to give you a short little skating lesson here. I know you don't want to learn how to skate, but it's a good analogy to use for this adjustment, and you're making these adjustments and you're making them in the air. And really a lot of times that's really, you know, I kind of can relate to, I think it can relate to falling down like that, because it's an emotional pain or whatever you feel when you've started a 90-day blitz, or you've talked about a goal and you feel yourself, you know, not getting there. Really all you need to do is just sit back, take a breather, think about the adjustment that needs to be made, and make those adjustments. And understand that as you make the one adjustment, you may need to make another adjustment. But what happens is you're going to keep getting closer and closer. Like I said, when, you know, I used to get very excited because after learning many new jumps, you knew once you got to the phase where the coach was just making the adjustments on your landing, that you were pretty much, you were in the home stretch now. I mean, you think of that in 3 parts, you know, you were, you know, 2/3 of the way through. So, you know, the landing was going to come. So, you know, along the way of your 90-day blitz, that's what you want to be cognizant of. You want to be aware. What adjustments do I need to be making in my lifestyle and you know, in my thinking and what it is that I'm doing, you know, so that I can make these adjustments. And sometimes they're just minor. It's just minor tweaking that you just need, and it's not, you know, and don't see it as painful. See it as getting you to the final goal, you know, because it feels so good when you finally do accomplish that goal. Okay, and the momentum that you're going to create. So versus momentum, that's part of the magic. Next is adjustments. Then we're going to talk about growth, which is G. Okay. Anyway, this is Mary Ellen Popkin. Check out my website, www.mentorwithmaryellen.com. Look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.